Melanie Mel B. Brown and Eddie Murphy had one of the most short-lived romances Hollywood has ever seen. Within a 6-month time period, they fell in love, made plans to get married, found out they were expecting a baby, and broke up. Despite it all, the Spice Girl pop star calls Eddie her greatest love. So what really went wrong? This is a story of love, heartbreak, and voodoo. Before we jump into all the juicy details, don't forget you can gain access to this audio and one unreleased super messy video per month on the Real Reality Gossip Patreon. Click the link in our bio for more info. Now let's get into today's video. To get a better understanding of their train wreck relationship, we have to take you back to August 2005 when Eddie's then wife, Nicole Murphy, filed for divorce after 12 years of marriage. Before the ink was dry on the divorce papers, Eddie had already moved on. He was linked to Mariah Carey, Robin Givens, and television personality Shaun Robinson. Meanwhile, on the other side of town, Mel B was trying to get her life in order. By 2005, she had been divorced for 5 years from Spice Girls backup dancer Jimmy Galzar. The couple also shares a daughter together named Phoenix. In an interview with Closer Weekly, a woman named Krista Parker said she had been seduced by Mel, and she wasn't the only woman the pop star was involved with. Mel was reportedly in a 2-year relationship with a film executive named Christine. The couple was photographed sharing a smooch in 2004. At the time, Mel said she didn't care how people identified her preference. She added, "But I know who's in my bed, and that's it." She and Christine broke up, and the newly single Mel was contacted by Eddie's people. But Mel told the Mirror she wasn't comfortable with just the two of them going out together. So she suggested they have a dinner party at his house, and that was right up Eddie's alley. He was known for always having a house full of people. Mel said when she arrived, the mansion was packed. She finally located Eddie from across the room and their eyes met. She said, "Then I freaked out because I've never had somebody look at me like that." She ran into the restroom to regain her composure. When she exited, she made up an excuse and told Eddie she had to leave because she had to attend another event at a hotel. Eddie wasn't buying it, so he booked a huge table at the hotel's restaurant and moved his entire dinner party there to be closer to Mel. When they arrived at the hotel, she excused herself and hurried to the restroom. Eddie decided to follow her to make sure she didn't leave. He waited for her outside the door and escorted her back to the dinner table. The very next day, Eddie called her and asked, "Do you mind if I see you every day for a few days? But I don't like going out, so will you come to my house?" Mel's nervousness had subsided by then, so she agreed. The two hit it off instantly, and she described them as two little excitable kids. Holed up in his Beverly Hills mansion, they watched old Elvis Presley and Richard Pryor movies. Eddie also opened up about growing up in the projects and spending time in foster care. In her memoir, Mel described the magical kingdom Eddie had created for himself. His home had everything he needed. Stevie Wonder would stop by to play the piano, and Denzel Washington was a regular guest. Every night at 6 p.m., Eddie's personal chef would prepare a lavish feast for everyone. Eddie immediately welcomed Mel into his inner circle, and his generosity was endless. He had her chauffeured around town in his Rolls Royce and gave her a credit card, telling her it would make him happy if she used it. Mel claimed she gave it back to him after a few weeks. That didn't stop Eddie from laying it on thick, though. Mel said a few weeks after meeting, he told her he wanted to get married and have a baby together. They became so close they even got matching tattoos on their upper thighs. After 6 weeks together, it was time to get down to business. Mel went out and purchased green, see-through undergarments embroidered with cherries. In reference to their first time together, she said, "It was like poetry, every touch, every kiss, every sense out of this world." Every morning, Eddie would tell Mel she was beautiful and the most incredible woman in the world. He wanted to make her his wife and didn't want to wait another second. He flew Mel's dad from the UK and booked a dining room for them at one of the most upscale hotels in Beverly Hills. He asked her dad if he could have Mel's hand in marriage, and her dad said yes. Mel said she was relieved her dad agreed to their union because she had already designed the most beautiful wedding ring from Cartier. They set their wedding day for Christmas 2006. In the months leading up to their wedding, Mel told the Mirror Eddie never hesitated to make her happy. On one occasion, she asked him to take her away for the weekend. He booked a private jet and whisked her away to Mexico with just a few hours' notice. In her memoir, Mel explained she got pregnant in Mexico and they were both thrilled about having a child. But their fairy tale romance quickly went left. Eddie became more and more controlling. She said he never wanted her to leave the house. When she wanted to run out to get a coffee, he would instruct someone on his staff to get it for her. Mel said living in 45-year-old Eddie's house was unbearable because it was so crowded. There were always people around, and she was very aware that a lot of his friends didn't like her. There were whispers around the mansion that 31-year-old Mel was nothing more than a gold digger. To make matters worse, there were reports of her clashing with his mom. She began to dislike Eddie's strict rules and felt her privacy was being violated. On one occasion, she bought some tampons and her purchase was reported back to Eddie. He insisted on booking her flights wherever she needed to go, and Mel claimed he had people watching her during her nights out with friends. She said, "Nothing was really in my control. I knew I could never like this and be part of Eddie's kingdom." She suggested they should buy a house together to get away from the mansion, which was always packed with his guests. Eddie shut that idea down, and Mel finally reached her breaking point. Her ex-fling Krista told Closer Weekly that Mel packed up and moved out of his house. Krista told the publication that Mel thought Eddie would come to his senses and they would get back together. After jetting off to London to clear her head, Eddie tried to get in contact with her a few times. But after a while, he took the separation as a sign that their relationship was over. In a December 2006 interview with RTL Boulevard, Eddie announced he and Mel had broken up. And in reference to their unborn baby, Eddie said, "And I don't know whose child that is until it comes out and has a blood test." Mel wrote in her memoir she was shocked. She called Eddie and said she would never forgive him. She also told him their relationship was over. From then on, she said all of her calls to the actor went unanswered. Days later, he showed up on the red carpet with Tracy Edmonds. Tracy's divorce from Babyface was still pending at the time, but she told reporters she and Eddie had been together for about a month and a half. Mel was ready to fight for her man. Her friend Elizabeth Rodriguez told the Daily Mail Mel turned to alternative methods to win Eddie back. She reportedly accompanied Mel to a Los Angeles hotel to act as a translator to a Spanish voodoo priestess named Tabitha. Elizabeth said Mel performed a ritual where she wrote down all the names of the people involved in the situation, placed the paper along with a pair of Eddie's boxers and a pair of her underwear in a jar, and buried it. By the time Mel gave birth to their daughter Angel on April 3, 2007, which was Eddie's 46th birthday, Eddie and Tracy were already engaged. Tracy sported an 8-carat diamond engagement ring from, you guessed it, Cartier. On June 22, 2007, a DNA test proved Eddie was the father, but he wasn't interested in being involved. Tracy's divorce was finalized that same month, and on New Year's Day 2008, Eddie and Tracy got married in Bora Bora. Their plan was to make things official upon returning to the U.S. Instead, they broke up 2 weeks later. Maybe Mel's voodoo ritual worked after all. Instead of getting back together, Mel moved on with Stefan Belafonte in 2007. She told The Guardian they got married after a 2-month courtship. With Eddie still out of the picture, Stefan stepped in and played the daddy role. In 2011, Mel gave birth to her third child, Madison. For the next few years, she and Stefan allegedly had a very toxic relationship, marred by serious allegations. Mel claimed she took substances every day to escape her issues, and Eddie's relationship with Angel deteriorated as well. Angel was finally able to have a real relationship with her dad in 2017, and she's now given the same amount of love and attention Eddie gives his other 9 children. Angel even attends the same school as his other children so she can receive the same level of education. Mel divorced Stefan and was ordered to pay him $40,000 per month in temporary spousal support and $5,000 a month in child support. Page 6 reports his request to have step visitation with Mel and Eddie's daughter Angel was denied. Single but not quite ready to mingle, Mel says her heart still belongs to Eddie. While chatting with Good Morning Britain in November 2018, she said he will always be the greatest love of her life. When asked if she was hoping for a reconciliation, Mel respectfully took the high road due to Eddie's relationship with his fiancée and mother of 2 of his children, Paige Butcher. In May 2019, The Mirror reported Mel and Eddie were finally in a better place as co-parents. However, in October 2020, Us Weekly revealed Mel went to court requesting an increase in her $25,000 per month child support. She stated her income has decreased dramatically due to the pandemic, and Eddie has stopped contributing to their daughter's educational expenses. Their hearing is scheduled for January 2021. We hope Mel and Eddie are able to work things out for the sake of their daughter, and we wish Mel and her family nothing but the best. Let us know your thoughts on this messy situation, and thanks for watching Real Reality Gossip.